Good morning and welcome to Friday's live trading. It's actually 7:45 in the morning, so I was just getting the recording software ready in here with the traders in the room, and we looks like we could have a trade coming up just after 8 o'clock. So I'll press pause for now. Okay, so we are coming. It's about 8 minutes to 8 now, and what I'm looking at here this morning is the potential for a long on the pound versus the dollar. So the potential for a long on the pound versus the dollar. What I'm looking at here is for a pullback to this zone over here. Hopefully the 5-minute 50 will be the zone, and there's a little 8 a.m. pivot will be coming in as well. So somewhere in that zone, that's where I'm going to be looking. So while it's pulling back, just let it do all of that. I'm not in a rush to do anything with it. I want to watch the price action first. I'm not just going to hit it straight away, but if it's already down, which is coming down before the close of the 8 a.m. bar, you see. So the 8 a.m. the hourly bar on closing into 8 a.m. So if it carries on coming down just in these next few minutes, then I can then just watch and see how it's behaving. So anyway, so that's that. For the purposes of whatever, I've just closed out with the guys this morning a trade from yesterday. So better disclose that. So that one's all done. That was a euro trade from yesterday that we did in the room yesterday afternoon. So we can't really include that in today's figures. So, but obviously I can't do anything with that. It's there. It's showing. So. But that one is flat. But just so that when we look at the accounts later on, you're not thinking what's he up to there. Right, okay, I better press pause. I forgot I was doing the recording, and I would have just carried on leaving it running. Back in a bit. Okay, so we're nearly there on this cable, so I'm looking to buy. I'm going to put maybe 2 units, maybe 3 units in this morning. I'll watch for the third unit, so I'll get the 2 units in. We're on the 8 a.m. pivot at the moment, and like I said, well, the way we've closed on the hourly, we've closed on a spinning top on the hourly, so not the nicest of best of closes on the hourly. But even if I'm wrong on this one this morning, I still think cable has that potential today to come up later. But okay, so we're just about there. Yep. Okay, let's get that first unit in. So first unit long cable. Just got long on 1 unit there on cable, and okay, I'll need to get the second unit in as well. Okay, 2 units in. And what I'll do is I'll just watch the for the third unit, so see how we close and if we can close back inside the bands and all of that. Now, as far as stops are concerned, I'm just going to pop a stop down here at 30. I don't think it needs to be any bigger than that. Looking at it at this stage this morning, so I'll pop a stop down there at 30. So I'll just get those done off screen. 122, 30. 122, 30. So sometimes with this sort of trade, it can take a couple of goes as well, because the charts, it's not clean here this morning on cable, but I see that potential for the upside. We've got a bit of momentum coming in on the hourly charts. We've got momentum coming in on the daily charts. So I can see that potential there with the pound. It's not to say it can't play around here, for the next few hours and stop me out in the meantime. So sometimes it could be that I have a couple of attempts. If it comes down, stops me out, let it do so. If it then looks like it's trying to turn back around again, then I can always give it another go. So for now, we are here. So what I've done is I've been watching cable. It made those lows yesterday. It's so far making a higher low. Looking on the hourly charts, let's take you out to the hourly charts. So here's the lows from yesterday, and here's the higher low that we've got here today. So far, this is on the hourly time frame. We've got a trend line across these highs, which I'm hoping that we're going to go for a break of that trend line. So there's a fair bit of potential, at least anyway. As far as upside is concerned, at the very least, I would like to see 60. About 60, that's my upper bands on my 4-hour charts. So it would be about 60 at the very least. So that would possibly be the first target for about 20 pips. So, but I think it's early stages at the moment, and I think it could play around for a while. If I get the opportunity to put that second unit in, then I will. Right, for now, I shall press pause. Okay, looks like I'm about to get stopped on this cable. My stop's at 30, so it has to obviously go below 30. Let's bring up the bring it up whilst we're here, so you can see me get stopped as it happens. You can see the stop just about here, just off screen. The stop's at 30 there. So on the price chart, you can see it's at 32 at the moment. But actually, if I bring up a ticket, you'll just be able to see the levels. So what has to happen is that it has to go below 30 on the ask, and so but it got very close there. That's why I've just pressed record again, because it was very close. My stop was going to show you it as it stops me out, and now I've brought the record up. It's just had a little bounce. So we'll continue to watch here on this pound dollar. Like I said, it allows for chop, it allows for some moving around here today because of that hourly chart, but overall, oops, that's a 6-day, no, it's an hourly chart. So it allows for chop because of the way the price action has been anyway. Overall, what I would like to see is that break of the trend line. So we have got this sort of a trend line across the highs. I'm just eyeballing it on there. So we've got a trend line across the highs. It's had lots of touches, so I'd like to see a break of that at some point. Obviously, I have to respect what the market wants to do, and if it carries on coming down, then it could then want to come all the way down as low as yesterday's lows. But otherwise, I do see that potential for upside today. Like I said, we've got a bit of positive momentum on the daily charts creeping in, even though the trend's down. A bit of positive momentum, which means we could have a little up day. So, and we had some on the hourly charts as well. It's sort of disappeared at the moment, but intrabar. But so we shall see. We shall see. It's just overshot my levels. But I was saying to the guys in the room here, if it just comes down and stops me out, and then comes back up again, then I will give it a second bite of the cherry at some point here this morning. It's likely I'll give it a second attempt at some point. So this is always the difficulty, because if it comes down, stops you out, and it's sitting down here, then comes back in the bands, have to make a decision as to, well, is that worth taking a trade at that point, or is it just coming to the bands to then set up for another short? So, but certainly I'll be keeping an eye on it anyway. So let's bring up the count again, because it looks like I'll show you it as it happens live. So it's on 31. It's just above now, so if we bring up a ticket, so you can actually see. So we're sitting on 31, 32. So this level needs to go below. So I'll actually get stopped. So I've got my stop at 30, but what it actually means is I get stopped at 122, 29 and something. It'll be whatever the spread. So the spread's around about a pip. So about 29 will be my actual exit there. Right, I think there's no point me carrying on talking about that, as it's just lingering. I'll press pause. Okay, just back, and does look like this time I'm probably going to get stopped. We see this ask go below 30, then my orders off screen will just get stopped. There we go. So I've just been stopped. Right, okay, so let's bring that up. So there's the cable trade. So just got stopped out there. So 200 quid on the 2 units. Right. So cable's come down here, but we've been talking to the guys in the trading room. I still quite like the potential, at least, on cable. Obviously, I'm not going to buy it again here. This morning we bought it. It was nearly 2 hours ago, about 8 o'clock. Off the 5-minute 50, gave it a bit of slack, and it's bounced around, but it's now finally broken that. Now it could still want to come back up again. Because of what I'm seeing on the higher time frames, there is that potential. Now what I would need though is I'd need prices to get back up into this zone here. We've got quite a nice trend line coming across the tops here. So I'd now be looking on the 5-minute chart at this zone here. So if price sort of comes down as it is at the moment, does whatever it does, and then starts coming back up into this zone, in fact it looks like it'd be about the same level, about 40, that I got in the first place. So I am still looking at that for the pound. because I still think the pound's got the potential. It's choppy today, but I'm willing to give it another shot based on those higher time frames, and that it might just, maybe it's going to be this afternoon that it has that run, but I want to give it that try. So we're going to keep an eye on this pound dollar to see if it can get back up. Well, all the time it's coming down, I'm not interested in buying it while it's coming down, because it may just want to come down further, and I might be wrong. But it will prove itself to me if it turns around and it comes up and it breaks this trend line on the 5-minute chart and all of that. So don't really need to do anything just yet. We'll wait and see. I'll press pause. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put an order in. We've got this trend line here on the 5-minute chart coming sort of across here. So we've got that on the 5-minute chart, and on the hourly chart, we've got this nice trend line going all the way across from the hourly highs here. So we've got a potential for a break coming at some point here today. So I'm not going to be around all day. I've got to go to London for a meeting later, but the potential is there. So yes, the cable's down at the moment. It makes no difference. So what I'll do is get an order at least with a single unit put in, and a single unit, if that breaks and it runs to what I'm looking for, it'll more than make up for the loss that I've already incurred here this morning on this trade. So I'll put an order in for 1 unit, then see how it goes if I'm around, and then we'll see how it goes, and then I can always add to that position. So let's get a deal ticket up. So I'm going to place an order, and it's going to be a buy stop. So it'll be a buy stop somewhere above this level. So I still think around about, I'll put it back in around about 122.41. So just a bit above that 5-minute 50. It would have certainly cleared the trend line by then. So I'll put a stop in at 122.41. Buy stop, that is. And then I'll put a stop loss back down at 25. So I'll give it a 15 pip stop. As far as targets are concerned, I can actually put the target in because I have an upside target of 122.90 overall. So I'd be looking for 45 pips, risking 15 pips. Okay. So, but that's the first one. So I'll get that in. Okay, orders placed. So that now is in there at 41. As we go through this morning, if the pound's going to pick up, there's no point in me buying it down here. I don't have any reasons to necessarily have to buy it down here, so there's no point in me trying to bottom pick. I'll wait and see if it can break that trend line. So, but if it can get above that trend line and these moving averages turn and all that, then I can also look at then getting a second unit in. I'll probably keep it at 2 units now because of the having the first loss. It'll then keep me to less than £500 down for the day if that one became a loss as well. So you always have to look at your risk management. There's no point in me putting a bigger position in, particularly these 2 positions would be more than enough to give a decent enough profit on these trades anyway. So I'll leave those that order there. That's actually, and then we'll see if that gets filled. So that order's at 122.41 with a stop at 25. Right, I'll press pause for now. Oh, and one thing I will do is if nothing happens for the foreseeable, to leave that order in there. Like I said, I'm going to be going out. The orders are all there. And then this video might go out a bit later today because I don't want this video going out whilst this is still in play, because the video goes out to thousands of people and all of that. So we'll see how this one runs. I'll press pause. Okay, just back. And that trend line, I've been down to the gym, that trend line's been broken from a lower level because it's been hanging out down lower. I'm just going to have a double check of my charts off screen, make sure I'm not doing anything too crazy. But yes, this looks okay. I still like the potential for cable today. So I'm actually going to put this trade in now. I've just got back. I can pop a stop down at these lows. Let's have a look and see where this low is. That low's down at 21. I'm getting in at about 31 here. So long. Pound dollar again, second attempt of the day. Not being too fussy on entry, and we'll just see now if that's it for the pound dollar, and whether I'm going to get that break, whether we're going to get this secondary break of the hourly trend line, which is up here, and that's going to be somewhere above in the 40s by looks of things now. Now here's the last hourly bar. I see we closed on a spinning top kind of candle again, and it's just a case of seeing whether this is it, or whether I'm just going to get chopped today. But you know, kept it small, so it's not going to be a big risk. So I've got that entry in. I'm going to leave the other entry up there for as a like an add-in. So I will leave that other entry up there. I'm just going to get this stop sorted out. Let's bring the stop up. 122.21 it was, or in that case I'll put it at 20. So the stop's in there at 20, so literally just below that low. So we'll just see. It's a funny one today with cable. It's got virtually no momentum on the hourly chart, but like I've been saying, it's got the momentum building on the daily charts. And looking at the 4 hourly charts, just creeping along the 4 hour 50. It's been hand railing that all for the last few days, and we'll just see if it can have that break up. Whether it happens today, it might not. It might happen on Monday. In which case my timing's off and I'll just get stopped out again. But we shall see. So the entry's in. So let's bring up the account again. I haven't done anything else. I've been down the gym, so let's get this all out of the way. So there's the first 2 entries. Here's the one that I've just gone in at 31. Put the stop at 20. Again, I'll put those targets way up there. I'll get those sorted out. But I've literally just walked into my office and seen this. So my timer's going off on the food. So back in a bit. Okay, just back now, and it's 5:30 in the afternoon. So cable came down a reasonable amount actually while I was gone. So obviously it got stopped out. Came down. So some days you just have to accept you were wrong. I had 2 attempts on cable today. That first trade, and then that's a small second trade, and the analysis was wrong today, and so there were plenty of reasons for it to go both ways, and that's why sometimes you end up just trading smaller to reflect the analysis. If the analysis had have paid out, so to speak, and it had have run up, it would have still been a nice enough payday. But if it doesn't, then you don't lose too much anyway. But so yeah, got stopped out again. This is the hourly chart. Let's have a look at the daily chart, see what's going on. I've just walked in the door. Okay, although it was a down day here as far as intradays are concerned, fairly flat. So funnily enough, the analysis, you never know, could still come through next week, because there was always the potential to test the lower bands here on the daily charts, and it could still bounce again, I guess, next week. So we shall see about that. But anyway, that's the 5-minute chart. So that's it for now. So oh yeah, sorry, I better bring up the account. So I mean, obviously I've got the trades from the trade from yesterday, which is squared off. Even that, funnily enough, could have carried on running that one a little bit more. See euros come down a bit more today, but so £300 loss on the cable trade today, but offset obviously a bit by the other trade, but 2 losing trades there today, and nothing much more to say about it than that really. So look forward to next week's. See you then.